Hello, everyone. Hi. It is Catherine Massell, Master Energy Healer, Spiritual Growth Mentor, Ascending Earth Creatrix. Hello. How are you? I'm going to wait for some folks to jump on live while I get my stuff together and make a few notes. And maybe I should tag some people. Hi again, Angela. Let me make a note here, and I'm going to share this 3-day event. We are in day one. Day one of this 3-day event, Reinvent Yourself. If you don't have it already, get a journal, get a notebook, a pen, because I am sharing real actionable content with you. I know sometimes people do like challenges and they do, live events. They don't really give any real information. Well, mine are different because I actually give you guys stuff that you can act on and do, and you can have shifts and changes in this free workshop, okay? Hi, Camelia. Hi, Heather. Hi, Svetlana. Hi, Dina's here. That's my girl. Olivia's here. Hi, Olivia. Okay. I'm slowly coming back around from this energetic slump. This eclipse season is kind of cray, and I'm feeling it. I don't know who else is feeling it. So I want to ask you guys that are here, while I'm sharing this, what I'd like you to do for me in the comments, please put in the comments, what does it mean to reinvent yourself in 3 words? Give me 3 words. What does that mean? When someone says reinvent yourself, what do you think of? 3 words. Put it in the chat box, please, in the comments. I'm going to share this to my homepage. And Lake Tahoe Master Energy Healer. There I am. How's everybody doing? Okay, sharing my timeline. I'm so glad there's so many of you here. I see 9 people, but I only see a couple people saying hi. But you know what? I can't always see the comments. Facebook can be strange that way sometimes. Hi, Benita. Hi, Camelia. Hello. Okay. Reinventing the self. What does it mean for you? Okay, in 3 words. Or 4. I'm not that much of a stickler. Setting a new course. Awesome, Dina. Thank you. Camelia says passion. Love. I am passion. Yes, I like that. Very saucy. I totally dig that. Tammy's here. Hello, Tammy. Angela says new perspectives, enlightenment, joy. Oh, I love that. Yes. 3 words. What does reinvent yourself mean to you? Those that are jumping on, if you haven't seen the live that I did introducing this event, I did it a couple days ago, but I invited you to sign up to my email list. So if you can't make these lives and you want the replays sent right to your inbox, go ahead to my homepage, catherinemassell.com. And when you're on the homepage, you can scroll down, or if you're there for like 4 seconds, there's a pop-up to sign up to my email list. So go do that, and then you will get the replay sent to you, but also, I have a special free bonus coming to you guys that do sign up to my email list. If you're already on my email list, you're gonna get it. But also a very special limited time offer on my Become the Creatrix course. So if you jive with my vibe over these 3 days, talking about this stuff, reinventing the self, Become the Creatrix is that on steroids. It is a very intense overhaul of who you are, letting go of the past self and recreating a new self. And we're going to be talking about that over 3 days. And yes, I am plugging this course, but I'll tell you what, I'm also giving you real, valuable, actionable content over these 3 days. So show up for the lives if you can. If not, go to my email, sign up on the email list. I will send you the replays to your inbox. And here is my email. Or sorry, that's my homepage from my website. And when you sign up there, if you're there for like 4 seconds, you'll get a pop-up and you can sign up to my email with that, or you can scroll down on the homepage and sign up for the email list. Okay, get that out of the way. Boom. Also, bring a notebook over these next 3 days. Bring your favorite pen. This is my favorite pen right here. I love it. It's an expensive pen, but I'm worth it. I do a lot of writing. I have lots of content that I need to write out all the time, so I need a good pen. Get your favorite notebook. I'm going to be delivering stuff to you in this 3-day event that is going to help you create shifts right here, right now in 3 days, okay? If you are new to me, my name is Catherine Massell. I am a master energy healer. I've been doing this work for about 18 years. Started out doing Reiki, went into a whole lot of other stuff. I do mindset work. I do spiritual mentoring, meaning helping you bring your spiritual awakening process into the physical, helping you to know how to live a daily life, navigate through all the challenges, all the hurdles of daily life with a sense of spirit, driven by the higher intelligence that resides within you. A lot of people don't know how to do that. We're figuring it out, and I'm really good at helping people do that. What I'm focusing on this year is really helping people take everything that's brought them to where they are, the culmination of their spiritual and human journey, and helping them ascend, evolve, expand into that next level of being. The Become the Creatrix course that starts on February 7th is that vessel, that container of information, or transformation I should say, and information, that is going to help you transform to that you said you were going to be in 2019. How do you do that? What's your plan? What steps do you have? That is the Become the Creatrix course. I have women who are in that right now. It's called something different, but they are going through this really incredible transformation of letting go of unbeing the old self and creating from the clay of their own imagination the foundation for becoming a new self, a new way of being. Having a new, higher quality, more self-affirming life for themselves going forward that is of their own design, their deliberate design. It's not by default. Many of us feel like we've got to where we are at this point because it's by default. You know, we reacted to things in our world. Well, what if we get to totally create our world and be in control, be the master of our inner environment that then, by universal law dictates, has to translate in your outer environment? What if you could do that? The steps for that, the plan for that, and it's a kind of a rinse and repeat program for doing any kind of up level, any kind of scaling up you want to do in your life going forward. That is what I teach in Become the Creatrix. There is going to be a very, very special limited time offer on that going out in your email tomorrow. It's only going to be available through the weekend. If you don't jump on it, the price goes back up. So if you like what I'm sharing in here, you are going to love Become the Creatrix. And this is going to be my signature course going forward. I'm only going to teach 3 things this year, which for some of you who know me, that seems odd because I teach a lot. But Mother Creatrix DNA, which I just finished up that course. That was amazing with Angela and my friend Catherine and Chad. That was a great course. I'm going to be teaching that again in the fall. I'm going to be teaching Wealth Consciousness Collective coming up on February 1st, which is amazing, and there is a special price on that, $150 off through this Sunday. So if you want to completely change your money story, get in on that. There's a special pricing on that through the weekend. But task at hand, let's go. If you haven't put it in the comments, what does it mean? Hi, Allison. Hi, Stacey Ann. What does it mean to reinvent the self? When you think of reinventing yourself, what would that mean for you? Not someone else's version of that, but for you. Tammy says freedom, fun, abundant. Hi, Sarah. And some other great comments in here. Angela shared something really, really great. Svetlana says finding the real self, and this is the hardest part. Getting ready for our second round, and these are, yes, the second round of Wealth Consciousness Collective. I'm so excited. I got new stuff to add this time around. I'm so excited. Do things differently with passion, Olivia says. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And when you think about reinventing yourself, here's where we kind of miss the boat. We think that we have to, like, let's just say with 2018, the energies of 2018 were intense. They're intense now still. And for a lot of people, it feels like it just blew up our lives. Like everything that we knew, everything that was familiar, you know, our old ways of being, everything just kind of blew up. And we're tempted, out of familiarity, out of a sense of being in our comfort zone, out of a sense of egoic conditioning, to put the pieces back into place just like they were. We try to rebuild or recreate the self from memory. Problem is, we have memorized emotions. We are addicted to a way of being. So we try to recreate this old self that blew up, but we're doing it with the same energy that created the need for the blow up in the first place. That never works. And it only sets you up for more strife, more turmoil, more chaos, more emotional upheaval, more of the same, until that fuse blows again, which is inevitable. It's just going to happen. So where we are at as women is really, really interesting, really interesting. And I feel it's so great that I decided to incarnate this time to do the work that I do, because I get super excited when I think about we are really at this jumping off point of becoming incredibly different, more evolved human beings. So when things like this happen, when we have, let's just say, converging celestial events, things that happen up above that cause a lot of turmoil down here, that's one way that kind of makes things blow up down here. It's not the only way, but it's one of the ways. So let's just say, for instance, with a lot of the cosmic events that happen, there are a lot of things going on, a lot of timeline shifts, things like that, a lot of old paradigms falling away. Here's what happens. It pulls away, or it pulls us out of this kind of myopia. It pulls us out of this kind of like somnambulistic, this sleepwalking way of being in our lives, where everything gets shaken up and we get to see everything for what it is. Now, I know it sucks in the interim. At first blush, it really sucks because our whole life blows apart. Everything that's familiar is just like blown to bits. And we're there picking up the shrapnel. But what's interesting about that, when that happens, is that we are gifted with an opportunity to put things back together in a way that is not reminiscent of our familiar past. It is a way to do things differently with passion, my friend Olivia says. And what does that mean? Okay, when you kind of disassemble that or deconstruct that, do things differently with passion, what does that mean? Something that makes you feel passionate. Hey, Courtney, is it someone else's version of doing things differently? Is it your version of doing things differently? That's the other pitfall we kind of have as women. You know, we want to make sure everybody else is taken care of, right? We want to nurture everybody. We want to make sure everybody has what they need. We as women, we're preconditioned for that. We are nurturing. We are lovely individuals who want to give, sometimes until it hurts. And sometimes to the point where it's to the detriment of our own needs, right? To the detriment of our own desires, our own passions, our own needs. We are at this, when I talked about this jumping off point before, we are at this jumping off point where we get to reformulate, redefine, reconstruct everything now on our terms. It's always kind of been that way, but we've never really felt empowered enough or had enough drive or momentum, or let's just say things happening in the collective that really lend the energy to this kind of momentum for change. So what do we do with this? Do we just sit around and say, huh, that's interesting. That's cool. I mean, we'll let somebody else can reconstruct their lives or reinvent themselves. I'll just kind of watch back here. No. And I know it's a scary prospect. I know it's a scary prospect to think about reinventing the self. But if you are that person that I was talking about at the beginning of this talk here, that your life blew up in 2018, or it's continuing to blow up. Maybe you're on a trajectory of little things blowing up or imploding all the time. I am. And it's this wild ride. It's this wild and wacky ride right now. I'll be totally honest with you. I'm going through a major emotional upheaval, but I am looking at it in this way. I am seeing that all of these things that had to blow up, they had to fall away. Because who I am becoming, the energy that I am bringing forth with my life, with the momentum of, let's just say, celestial events, the cosmic energy, the timeline shifts, the paradigm shifts, all that stuff that's happening, I can't go forward and be the same person I was. I just can't. The energies present don't support that. And it's not just for me. The energies don't support that for you either. So when do we wake up and stop resisting this flow? When do we wake up finally and look at our lives and see all the moving parts? Pull back into what I call the God eye or goddess eye perspective and look at all the moving parts of our life and say, well, that's not working. And to be fair, that hasn't worked for a really long friggin' time, so that's got to go. And this thing is kind of connected to that thing. So if this goes, then that's got to go too. And then next thing you know, you've stripped yourself bare. And this is either happening on a conscious level, meaning we are doing it for ourselves, or it's happening on an unconscious level because simply where we are going, what we are becoming, the energies don't support the old way of being. So we find ourselves in this really interesting gap where we can do one of two things. We can have one of two perspectives. We can sit back, like I was just kind of making fun of before, and yes, I'm making fun of that person who just wants to sit back and just be a wallflower and be a tourist in this life. That's not going to suit you anymore either. That's not going to work. But we could sit back and just kind of say, that's interesting, watching all this stuff kind of play out, and just kind of be aloof about the whole thing and kind of pretend that it's not happening. And the things that are coming up in our lives, we're pretending to not know about ourselves. Like, that's just not going to work. And that is pure resistance at play. So you get to do that, or you get to say, this greater momentum that's already at work, it's already going. It's not like I'm starting up this energy of transformation from scratch or from nothing. There's already this current. There's already this flow. There's already this momentum of change. What would happen if I just kind of jump in with just kind of like la la la, just feet first or head first, and I just kind of jump into this flow and kind of see what happens with this energy. Now, you don't do it blind necessarily. I was making fun by doing it that way, but having real clarity then, if you could jump into this flow and grab some of this momentum, which you can, by the way, it's available right now. If you decided right now everything in your life was going to change and everything was going to shift, the universe would help you out, believe me. But it's this place of resistance that we're in, that we're just like, but I'm this person. I can't be this other person. That's too much. What's too much is trying to hold on to this way of being where everything else around you is shifting, moving, and evolving, but you're still trying to be the old you. You're showing up, you're doing spiritual awakenings, Kundalini awakenings, energetic activations, energy alignments, and I'm not knocking those things. They're wonderful. But if you are relying on that alone to change the rest of you, meaning the parts that you have to consciously direct in order to evolve, like your brain, your thoughts, your feelings, if you're still doing all those wonderful spiritual awakening things, but going back to being the same you at the end of every day, you have a problem. Because you're not really stepping into this flow, this momentum that can carry you forth in ways that you can't imagine, by the way. This momentum has the ability to carry you forth in a way that you, with your mind right now, that is the untrained, unevolved mind, you have no idea what is available for you. The potentials down the road, the possibilities that are really, you could just reach out and touch them. If you were to jump in this flow I'm talking about, you have no idea what's available to you. Everything shifts. Everything changes. And that fear that you have that's keeping you in procrastination mode or allowing you to stay in that place of pretending you don't know something about yourself, and ladies, you do. You know what you're holding on to that's holding you back. You know. I know that you know that you know. Okay? I told you we were going to laugh in this workshop. We're going to have fun. We're talking about deep stuff, but we're going to have some fun. We're going to laugh at ourselves because you're going to see how silly it is to hold on to that old you and exactly what that is costing you. That's what I'm going to bring you over these 3 days, okay? My version of the course this time. Olivia says, I just lost my feed. Come on. Allison says, God, I love you. You know I feel that way about you too, sister. Courtney says, I feel you, sister. Yes, 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 yes. Hi, Shelby. Welcome. So you guys get what I'm saying? Give me a heart if this makes sense. Like, or give me a heart, or do whatever. If you get what I'm throwing down and you're feeling this, like, I'm not just, this isn't just lip service here. This is truth. And you guys know me. You guys who have worked with me for a while, like, you get this is who I am. I'm going to tell you like it is. Yes? Okay? So that's also what I'm going to bring. Like, what you guys see here over the next 3 days, this is who I am. This is just who I am. I get excited about the stuff I geek out about this stuff. This is my life. This is how I serve. This is how I show up and deliver myself to the world and say, hey, everybody, come along with me because I'm having fun. You should have some fun too. Took me a while to get there, believe me. Okay, hearts, hearts, hearts. I love it. Thank you. So how do you begin to do that then? If you take this energy, if let's just say you decide to, get brave, get courageous, and jump into this flow, what do you do with it? What are your steps? Like, do you just jump in blind and just say, okay, universe, take me wherever? Now, there is an energy of surrender that is required here because you have a co-creative partnership. But if you understand that this co-creative partnership that you have is not necessarily with this nebulous thing that is out there, okay, that lives up way in the sky somewhere, this higher intelligence is a current, a flow within you. So when you reinvent yourself, the way to do it without doing it with the same energy that created the old you that needed to blow up in 2018, in order to bring a fresh energy in, a higher energy, a creative energy. It's about tapping into this higher intelligence that already resides within, okay? It's always been there, it's never gone away. It gets buried under layers and layers and layers and layers and layers of ego conditioning, bringing us these false ideas about who we think we are, okay? This egoic conditioning is that thing I'm talking about that's gotta go, that's gotta go. We need to be able to live our lives from the creative state. And when we do that, we evolve the mind. And we evolve the mind by thinking new thoughts, feeling new feelings, wiring new connections in the brain that align us with quantum possibilities for ways of being. This sounds like something that people, gurus, talk about on YouTube and on Gaia TV and stuff like that. This is real. This happens now. This is not something that happens in the future. You can align with quantum possibilities and ways of being, potentials of being that are far beyond what you can imagine right now. But many of us think of this as some nebulous concept because we don't have the steps. We don't have the plan. Like, how do you do it? How do you know how to do it? Become the Creatrix is the program that I help you to do this. And I give you something that, these are steps that are easy to follow. The ego is going to kick and scream while you make this change. I'm not going to lie to you. And even over this next 3 days, you're going to find that there's some kicking and screaming and tantrum throwing from the old you that is resisting change. Because we aren't wired necessarily for change. Not graceful change anyway. There's always some upheaval. There's always some turmoil. And it's because the way that we are internally wired, we're wired to fire the same emotions all the time that we eventually become addicted to, which is what the thing I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to help you with that today. And the thoughts that we think. And there is this endless feedback loop of our thoughts, emotions, thoughts, emotions, thoughts, emotions. And if you've been thinking the same way and feeling the same way for years, sometimes decades, you have wired these like internal troughs, these neural pathways in the brain that allow you to believe who you are. It creates an identity, it creates a personality, it creates an overall attitude of your life, a worldview. And because of those thoughts that you have about who you are, you have feelings that follow right on the heels of having, the second you have a thought about who you are, and let's just say it's negative, you have a feeling that follows right on the heels of that. I never get what I want. No one ever listens to me. If you say that to yourself, what feeling kicks in right away? You might feel it in your gut, right? It's this kind of like sinking feeling. It's very disempowering, right? We are wired for that. Our bodies are very keen for being able to kind of run themselves on autopilot. But the thing is, how we evolve and how we move into quantum possibilities and ways of being is to be able to control that environment. And we can do that. We can do that. But one of the things that you have to understand first is that we as women, we're at this very interesting point in time where we get to change everything. We get to change the paradigm. There's a power shift going on. We want to lead with light. However, we want to change that paradigm. We want to lead this power shift with light so that we are bringing balance to the world. But that means that we have to step up into a place a little bit more where we are more assertive. We are more self-possessed. I love that word, self-possessed, meaning I own me. No one else runs me but me, okay? That feeling of I'm in control of my world, meaning my inner reality, my identity of who I am, which is created by my own design, not deliberately, or not by default, but deliberately. That's me. And I show up as this me. There's no gap between the me in my inner world that knows my truth, that expresses myself fully, and that person that I show to everyone else in my outer world. That is what we are striving for as women. How do you do that, though? How do you know how to do that? You have to reinvent the self. Because if we're honest, we've been living at the mercy of certain societal norms, societal conditioning, long-term, chronic, systemic, historical downplaying of the feminine. Ladies, this is our time. We get to do with this what we want. Whatever we want. We get to design it. We get to be the architects of this paradigm shift going forward. But it starts on an individual level. If we came together as sisters and we started seeing how each one of us is taking initiative to be more assertive, be more self-possessed, be more self-confident, be more courageous, be more outspoken, in the highest altruistic ideals of all those things, by the way, how would we lead this planet with light then? People would stand back and be like, whoa, whoa. But how do you build a collective? By each individual. So we need to start this at an individual level, and we need to look at, first and foremost, and here we go. You might want to get a pen, get your paper out. Rachel says grateful for replays. And Rachel, if you sign up to my email, my link to my homepage is here. I will send you all the replays, okay? You need to be able to look at what is the emotion right now that is driving you. Not only what is driving you in your present life and keeping you going on this trajectory of creating the same old you, bringing the past you into the present and into the future over and over again. If you had to name one emotion, what is that? What is that emotion that keeps you addicted to the old you? Is it lack? Unworthiness? It's not a word, but it describes things really well. Not enoughness? Is it frustration? Is it anger? It could be disempowerment. And if you want to, hi T, hi Tammy Lip. Hi Heather Lawrence, I didn't see you here, I don't think I did. If you want to be able to break from the old you need to be able to name that emotion. You need to be able to recognize it. And that's where you take the work further, but, excuse me, right in the beginning, we need to be able to name it. Fear, T says. And you can put it in the comments here if you like. If you don't want to share it, that's cool. It's great for you to put it in the comments, because how do we all lead as a collective? We step up more courageous as an individual. So you can share this here, okay? Fear, yes. Disempowerment. Lack is big for me. Unworthiness is big for me. Is it guilt? Is it shame? Embarrassment? What is that? What is that emotion? Now, it's not to say that there aren't a whole lot of different emotions driving you, but there is one core, bottom, base emotion that is the driving emotion that has kept you rooted in an old way of being, that keeps perpetuating this way of being in your life every single day. You play out those same feelings that are attached to that one belief or that one core emotion, okay, that keep you being the same person over and over again until you learn how to break from memorizing that emotion, because you have memorized that emotion. Your body, the way it wires itself, the way the chemical responses fire after you have a thought, allows you to create emotion in the body that we get addicted to. And the reason why it becomes so difficult to change, we have these resolutions, these decisions we make at the beginning of a new year, right? Maybe we get into this thing for 3 weeks and we're really good at it for a while. We're really good at it. And it feels like we got to really force it. You know, it feels like we really got to be disciplined. We have to have a lot of willpower. We got to show up because that's what change requires, right? But why is it, do you think, that you don't stick with it? Why does it feel so hard to make that change? Because you're not consciously checked into that one core driving emotion that keeps you being that old way of being, that is fighting for survival. So anytime you try to create change, that emotion is just, it's finding ways to fire that emotion within you. So on an unconscious level, in our subconscious, we're looking things we're looking for things in our outer environment, situations, events, people that will help us go back to that emotion so that we can feel it. A lot of people don't understand this. This is just our biochemistry. We are wired for this, okay? And because our thoughts and our feelings are so inextricably intertwined, they are on this sensory feedback loop with each other all the time. The feeling feeds the thought feeds the feeling over and over and over again. So you have this feeling then, because you saw that your girlfriend at the gym, she's not really your girlfriend, because she always has something shitty to say about your outfit. Oh, I had those gym tights last year. They were so cute, and I gave them away, right? And then it makes you feel what emotion? Unworthiness, right? And she looks great, she's felt, she's, her body's nice and tight and toned, and she's 48, and you're 36, and you're like, I just can't. And so you go back to that feeling, but here's the rub, is that you are so addicted to that old way of being that it's really easy for you to find that person that you don't like, to get into that same situation or altercation at work, to get in that same argument with your husband or your kid or whatever, because we are addicted to a way of being. So we have to consciously redirect, and this is an inside job. This is not a passive thing. We have to redirect this ourselves. I feel like I'm getting sunburned from this light. And a lot of people don't realize that, when they go back to, they have this resolution and they're maybe really good at doing this new thing or having this new way of being for a couple weeks, but then they just go right back to that old way of being. Because a lot of people don't know that we have this connection. And it is powerful. It is powerful. But we can change it. Allison knows what I'm talking about. We're wired for that. So you've got to change the wiring. And what that means is we need to unbe the old self. But what happens when you unbe the old self? You create an energetic void. So if you don't know who it is that you want to become, you're just kind of creating this vacuum where anything can come in. And if you're not clear about what you want to come into that space so that you can reinvent yourself, you'll just go back to, by default, that old way of being. It doesn't matter how many times you unwire that old way of being, unless you put something in that's new and fresh and totally redirects the energy, you'll just default to that old way. Is this powerful for anybody? Does this make sense? Give me some hearts, leave me a comment if this makes sense. If you guys are with me, are you with me with what I'm saying? Is get you in the feels? T says it's something we thought protected us for so long, such a survival mechanism. Exactly, you said it. It is survival consciousness. What I'm talking about, moving into the creative state, that's how you reinvent yourself. You will not be able to reinvent yourself from survival consciousness, which is the same state of being that allowed you to create the old you by default. You guys hear that? I don't know if I can have the words to repeat it, but go back and watch the replay. We must move into a different state. So that higher intelligence that I was talking about, okay, that resides within you, that's buried under all the layers of ego conditioning, all the layers of the false self, all the layers of the you that you present to the world but isn't really the you that is really you. There is a higher intelligence underneath all that shit, okay? That's what we need to tap into. And it's not once in a while, like on a Friday night when the moon is full and I'm doing my meditation ritual. It must be an everyday, dedicated, concerted, consistent effort to rewire the programming of your internal reality. There is no other way. There's a lot of people who talk about like manifesting and creating this new thing and just feeling into the vibration, and all that's true. You have to match a vibration for what you're calling in, but if you don't realize what goes deeper than all of this, you will just be left with scratching your head wondering why, but I'm doing all the stuff. Like I'm feeling happy and I'm doing this thing and I'm feeling optimistic. But after that's over, after the afterglow of that 20 minutes that you're really happy and positive, what are you going back to thinking about? What are you going back to feeling? What's your default setting? And that default setting that I'm talking about, what is that emotion? So my invitation to you, okay, is to really sit and think about what is that emotion? And not only, what is that emotion that is keeping you rooted into this old way of being that allows you to bring your past self into your present and your future reality over and over again every single day. If nothing changes, nothing changes. If you're not thinking any new thoughts, you're not feeling any new feelings, you are the same old you every single day. You're not creating any new behaviors, you're the same old you every single day. I talk about this kind of sweet spot when we wake up in the morning. And I'll talk about this tonight, your homework for tonight. When I talk about this kind of fresh energy that we wake up with in the morning. We wake up, let's just say we had a good night's sleep, okay? We wake up, we have completely fresh, pristine, perfect energy. It is untainted by anything. Before we pick up our phone and look at our texts, our email, before we even hear the alarm clock go off, before we turn over and see our husband or wife sleeping next to us, before we even sit up in bed and put our feet on the floor, before we have any kind of sensory feedback experience that reminds us of our environment, because our environment reminds us of who we are. Our environment reminds us of our identity. It reminds us of our personality and our entire personal reality, because those things are interchangeable. Your entire personal reality is your identity, okay? So before you do anything that reminds you of who you are, meaning you get in a state of mind that says, this is me, you have in this waking state, this perfect, pristine, energetic template to tap into the creative state. Because you haven't gone into any of that thinking or feeling that allows you to go into survival state consciousness, which is like egoic conditioning, crisis management. I got to get up, I got to let the dog out, I got to get the coffee started. If I don't get it started now, I'm not going to be able to get in the shower in enough time to get to work. That's survival mode consciousness. That's where we find ourselves most of our day, every day, in that level of mind, in that state of being where we're putting out fires. This creates a cascade effect in the body that is causing physical deterioration, let alone limiting our whole way of being in terms of who we can be, what we can do, what we can have. It's limiting our quantum potentials because you're not tapped into the quantum field when you are in our survival state consciousness. Those are two opposing, mutually exclusive energies. They cancel each other out. So try in the morning to get into this place before you look at anything, before you even look at your husband, before you think about putting the dog out, before you remind yourself in any way, shape, or form about who you are. Go into this place within you where you just mentally say, I want to tap into the higher me. Just say that. If you have a way of connecting, go ahead and do that. And then plan your day. Think about how you want your day to go. Create it in that space. It doesn't have to take more than 5 minutes, okay? And then go on and do your stuff. Now, here's what's going to happen in that space, because this is how good we are at being the old self. You're going to fight it. The mind is going to wander. 6 to 8 times a minute, the mind wanders off of its focus, meaning we can only ever hold attention for something in the span of a minute, very briefly. 6 or 8 times in that full minute, we get distracted. We think of something else. This is because we're wired to be in this kind of, we're conditioned to be so tuned into our environment, okay? So your body, your mind are going to fight it a little bit, but just discipline it. Like you're talking to a dog. Just like, we're going to lay here for 5 minutes and I'm going to create my day. And then, you know what? Your treat is you get to get up and look at your emails. You get to get up and make the coffee. You get to do your yoga, whatever that is. But for 5 minutes, we're going to sit here, we're going to lay here, and we're just going to do this. We're going to create this day. What if you started every day like that? You can. So try that in the morning. But the other part of this is, because I'm going to pick up on this tomorrow, is what is that emotion that you are addicted to? that core emotion. There might be a lot of things. It might be unworthiness, frustration, and anger that you feel, but at the bottom of that, there is one core emotion that is allowing all those fragmentary emotions to exist in the first place. For me, it was lack for a really long time. For a lot of women that I work with, it's unworthiness, not enoughness, okay? And from that, there can be fear. From that, there can be procrastination. From that, there can be unworthiness. Find out what that feeling is that drives you, that has driven you. Start looking at past events. Kind of do a miniature life review. The most, let's say, painful experiences that you've had, what's that one underlying emotion that seems to kind of rule all those experiences? What is that? Name it. Write it down. Because tomorrow I'm going to take you through a really powerful exercise of release. So get clear on what that is. What emotion would you say is keeping you from being a greater version of you? And we're going to work on creating this highest ideal version of you. Tomorrow after we do this release, we're going to do that talk, okay? Because if you don't have clarity, remember I talked about if you do the releasing, you create an energetic void. And then you have this kind of vacuum if you don't have anything to fill it up with. So we must be very intentional, especially now, as these energies move so fast. Timelines of old paradigms are shifting, they're falling out, they're dissolving. We're being ushered into new ways of being very, very quickly. So when I say like jumping in this stream, jumping in this flow, because it's already there, the current is already flowing. Keep in mind that as you release something, you are leaving yourself just, I'm trying to scare you here, but you're just leaving yourself empty and open to whatever to come in because the energies are moving so quickly. You guys get what I'm saying? So unless you are very clear and very intentional about who that highest ideal version of you is that you would like to become, that you want to step into, you're just pulling things in willy-nilly. And until you clear up that connection or sever that connection to that old way of being, you're just going to bring in more of that old self back in. Does that make sense? Give me a heart if this resonates with you guys. Okay. Stacey Ann says, ugh, it's freaking terrible. It doesn't have to stay that way though, dear. It doesn't have to stay that way. Upon knowing I'm just about to open my eyes, I meditate. Nice. Going to create this day. Beautiful, Courtney. Yeah, absolutely. T says, always thinking 10 minutes ahead and never in the moment, right? And many of us find ourselves in that way. I always say the present moment, the now moment, is the most unused piece of real estate, of energetic real estate, because we're either in the past or we're either in the future. And if we are in the present, which is also how we link to the quantum field of infinite possibilities, the quantum field of mind, the quantum you, it's how we quantum jump, it's how we timeline jump, which you can also do. Unless we learn how to fully occupy the present moment, we don't really know what expansion is. Because there is nothing more expansive than the present moment. But we don't realize this. And that's why we often feel like so short of breath. We feel so closed off because we don't know how to occupy the present moment. All creation takes place in the present. All of it. It is the birthplace of all creation, the present moment. It is the most unrealized, unused piece of energetic real estate. But I do teach you how to use that very, very adeptly in Become the Creatrix. So I will see you guys tomorrow. I want to thank so many of you for being here. It was so wonderful to have so many of you live. If you haven't done it already, go to my website, catherineMassel.com, and sign up for my email list. And I will send you the replays so you can listen to these again. I mean, this is like a mini class with a lot of valuable content in it, so you can listen to it again. But if you really want to take this further, Become the Creatrix program, I'm going to have a special offer that will also be sent to you in an email going out tomorrow. It's a limited time special offer discount on Become the Creatrix course. Plus, there's a free bonus that I'm going to be sending you on Saturday that's going to be of great value as well. So thank you so much for being here, ladies. I hope I lit you up. Give me a heart if I give you some inspiration today to start thinking in new ways or start feeling in new ways. I'd love to hear that. I'd love to know that. And you continue to comment on this thread if you need to. If you're watching the replay, #replay. I want to wish you all so much love and peace. I'll see you tomorrow right here on this page, Catherine Massel, Ascending Earth Creatrix, which is my business page, 11:30 a.m. Pacific time. Mwah!